Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Kill10Rats. Welcome back to Bloodlines, where for once we're not standing next to Mr. Kilpatrick, but I don't think we have improved visually now that we're here with Tongue. We have just done the warehouse and blown it up. Now the question is, what do we have to do next? It tells us to report to Lacroix at the Venture Tower downtown. The Venture Tower, not the Venture Tower, even though that's probably also appropriate. And we also have Muddy Mikey Durbin for Kilpatrick to hunt down. Or rather, he didn't really encourage it, but maybe there's something we can squeeze out of him. And Mr. Strauss wants a word, which we should probably take him up on because he's our clan leader. Let's see if Tongue has anything else to say.
Nice work, fledgling. I felt that explosion a mile away. It's all over the news, too. Man, there's gonna be some pissed off Sabat just howling for blood tonight.
That's not particularly encouraging, considering whose blood they're probably howling for. But, yeah, do you know someone named Beckett? Because we met his smug self the other day.
Beckett? Well, I know of him. Why?
I spoke with him.
No kidding. Huh. Must be something major happening if he's in town. Beckett is a historian of sorts. He's unearthed more vampire lore than anyone. Well, that's all Beckett does. Seek the truth behind our condition.
Bertram, I have some questions for you.
Like what?
I had a question about the clans.
Clans are just bloodlines, you know. A common root shared and passed on from sire to child.
Can you tell me about your clan, the Nosferatu?
The Nosferatu are damn good at what we do. No one even argues that. If you need to know, if you want it found, you come to us. We're indispensable. Not a bad place to be in the afterlife.
Well, if you discount the fact that you look like, someone did a bit of a hatchet chop on your face and added a bit of pustules, and I'll just stop now because you're looking at me funny. Lucky you, yes indeed. Let's be sarcastic. Lucky you.
The Nosferatu stick together, pool resources. We have more going on than anyone could guess at. Our web blankets the night.
That is actually true. They even stick together with their Sabbat counterparts. They tend to hang out in the underground of the city, and their comings and goings are a bit difficult to track since, they're masters at not being seen. And they have proper clan unity. They actually feel like everyone else is out to get them, and they have this clan legend of the Niktuku, which is I think the 4th generation of the Nosferatu, who are also out to get them, because the antediluvian of the clan, Absimiliard, has sent them out to destroy his aberrant brood that just looks like, they've been squeezed through the meat grinder. Are the Nosferatu part of the Camarilla? Well, yeah, some of them are.
I'm loyal to the clan, loyal to my primogen, and therefore loyal to the Camarilla.
Yeah. That's a nice way to answer it. They're mostly, as just about everyone, in it for themselves, but with them, the boundaries are just fluid. They're Nosferatu first, and Sabbat, Anarchs, and Camarilla second. Do you like them?
The Nosferatu are the eyes and ears of the Camarilla, so they take care of us. They value our services, or, don't want to be on our bad side. Either way, no one bothers us.
Indeed, like getting on their bad side is a really, really bad information, since they also pool information. Did I say a really bad information? A really bad situation. Yeah, they pool resources, and that's also why they get away with stuff. Like, did you just meet with someone from the Sabbat? Did you just meet with someone really, really terrible 2 years ago? Okay, I'll drop it. That's sort of how they work. What do you think of Lacroix?
What am I gonna say? He's the boss now.
What about that guy who decapitated my sire?
He's Lacroix's iron fist. No one knows the sheriff, really, except LaCroix. No one even knows the guy's name. There's lots of rumors about him, though. I heard LaCroix picked him up in Africa over 100 years ago. Obviously, they work well together.
Holy shit, so he really is a knackloper. That's a bloodline that they introduced fairly late in the source books. I think almost around the time that the game was, I guess, replaced by Requiem. And it's a Tzimiske bloodline, or Chimiche, or Tzimiske, however you want to pronounce it, like the Sabbat clan. But obviously he's not with the Sabbat. We could probably probe him for a lot more information. Maybe we should ask him about... Oh, about Nines. Yeah, why not? What about Nines?
From what I hear, he's a likable sort, and that's a problem. Nines Rodriguez is the kind of guy you want on your side, and more kindred go anarch every day because of him.
About the other sects.
Yeah?
What about the Sabbat? I'm curious what his take on them is. He might actually have a less stereotypical view of them.
You ask me, the Sabbat makes no sense. They couldn't care less about the Masquerade, and they seem to care even less about themselves. It's like, hey, let's all spread hell on Earth so we can feel big and bad. Oops, I'm dead. Now how did that happen?
Okay, he doesn't know jack shit. Well, he's a bit low on the food chain, and he's also, I think, harboring some anarch sympathies, his opinion on Nines notwithstanding. I'm gonna ask you about the Tremere, because I want to know my own clan.
Mages. I don't have any reason to trust them. They're creepy, and I think they like it that way. But to be honest, I don't hear much about the Tremere. There's a few in LA, but all in all, there's not that many of them.
Yeah, if you don't hear from them, it's usually an indicator that there's gonna be a problem soon, because if they're quiet, they're usually up to something. There's one right here for you not to trust.
Well, from what I hear, you're part of a dying breed.
What are you talking about? Part of a dying breed? He may be referencing the fact that the Sabbat Tremere have been wiped out by Tremere himself, at least canonically. They branched off under their leader Goratrix centuries ago, and eventually Tremere sort of tricked him, or tricked them rather, to congregate in one gigantic ritual, and then just sort of once he had them all in one place, or like almost all of them, he just wiped them out. Like Tremere himself being of the third generation and thus a stupendous badass. About Beckett, since we seem to have the time before we go on our taxi here, as I mentioned, he's a signature character. He was mentioned in a footnote the first time, I think, in the Book of Nod, which is like the Kindred Bible that they actually put out as a separate text. So there is an actual Book of Nod that you can read with all the verses and everything. And it's put together by Aristotle de Laurent, like the version you can buy, who is... I think he used to be Beckett's sire, and now they retconned it to being his mentor. And there's sort of a bloodline, or like a group of vampires, I think, I'm not sure if they're called Jocastachians or if that's their enemies, but mainly they're Nodists without being in the Sabbat, so they are pursuing knowledge of the Book of Nod and its interpretations about the kindred origin stories and Cain and everything. And they go to great lengths to do that, even risking their own unlife. So they're fanatics, and Beckett is somewhat part of that. He's not really part of the Camarilla, the Sabbat, or anything. He's nominally part of the Camarilla because sort of everyone who enters a Camarilla town has to pretend to be, but other than that, I don't think his loyalty go deeper than that. Hey there, Mr. Cab Driver.
Where to?
Away from here. Okay, so we got the map, and we can go downtown, and not anywhere else, so I don't think you can even scroll the map. Nope. So let's head on downtown.
Let's drain it. Let's take it and leave it out for the sunrise.
We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Think you could blow up our warehouse and get away with it? Ah, lick.
Let's pull out its eyes and its tongue and its teeth. I want its teeth.
Camarilla fuck. Boys, I think we could all use a little entertainment. Those of you sitting in the first few rows will get wet. Son of a bitch!
Leave.
There's 3 of us, Rodriguez.
Yeah. 3 of us.
What are you gonna do?
Shoot us?
This ain't over. We'll find you. You too, Rodriguez. You're both dead. Nobody messes with a Sabbat and lives.
Keep moving. Trouble sure seems to like you. Good effort. Execution needs a little work. You look like shit. Name's Nines.
Yeah, nice entrance there, and pretty badass delivery. These 3 stooges that just assaulted us and for some reason managed to beat us unconscious, even though that's not technically possible, without putting us into torpor, from which we would probably wake up in a couple of days or weeks, depending on our humanity. In any case, those 3 probably have less of an idea what the Sabbat is than we do at this point. They just get shovel-headed and then sent out and fed some sort of party line, and the ones who survive for a bit get told what the gig is actually about. That's also where that impression sort of comes from, because the only ones that the Camarilla usually get their hands on are the stupid ones who don't know anything. And so it's a fairly, it's an image that they like to maintain, because the truth is a lot more complex and a lot more unpleasant, and the fact that, behind the facade of these thugs, there is a bunch of fairly together and intelligent monsters that are all sort of reliant on each other and cooperating. That would probably be scarier than the vision of the sect that they have now in the Camarilla. Anyway, thanks for the help, Nines.
Should have been more careful, newbie. This ain't the burbs.
I remember you from the court.
Kid, I got things to deal with. Why don't you pay me a visit at the last round tonight? I don't know what you've heard so far, but it's time you heard the real story.
Yeah, the real story always being the thing that people try to feed us before we figure stuff out ourselves, of course, since everyone's always trying to manipulate the new guy. I'll do that.
This is a mean existence. Stay out of trouble, kid.
And now we implicitly owe him big time. What with the whole boon and obligation system in the Camarilla, which nominally Nines is also part of, especially since he attended, court with Prince. So we basically have 2 life boons that we owe, one to the Prince and one to the Anarch leader. This is potentially the shittiest situation to be in as a really, really young vampire. And it's augmented by the fact that the Sabbat want to kill us. So we might as well just step out and catch a sunrise for all the good this will do us. I like this presentation here. But yeah, I mean, what are we gonna do? We're gonna keep on trucking. Baby sale? Excuse me. Coming soon, the Peckening. And yeah, he's someone of the monetary affection persuasion again. I'm pretty sure we want to be in here. This is probably not a gargoyle that will come to life, even though that's also a bloodline created by the Tremere. So, do we want to be in here? Oh, we want to be up there, maybe? I think, yeah, we want to be up there. But yeah, it's a horrible situation for Ben to be in, since he basically owes life boons to two people with completely opposing interests. Of course, it's probably a better idea to stick to what the Prince wants us to do and not what Nines wants us to do, because the Prince can hurt us a lot more and a lot quicker long term, but the Anarchs can sort of... There's not really an elegant way to put it. It's like just wreck our shit, basically. They're fairly physical and tend to slap people around. Are you the same guy who was guarding the gallery?
Hey there, Chief. Small world,
Oh.
Yep, after that gallery, I didn't think I'd be able to get a job guarding a room full of jack squat from the Boogity Man. But then I get a call offering me this sweet night shift slot, and I'm back in the security game. Well, enough about my lucky break. You, here to see one of the bigwigs, Chief?
Oh dear, you're probably a ghoul now. I'm here to see LaCroix.
Would that be Sebastian LaCroix of the LaCroix Foundation, or Dwayne LaCroix of Insurrection Baby Formula Company?
What the hell? Sebastian LaCroix.
Okay then. Mr. LaCroix, he told me to expect someone fitting your description sometime tonight. You go right on up. Yeah, you have a good power meeting, or whatever it is you types do up there. You need any security? Well, you just ring the front desk and ask for Officer Chunk. That's me, in case you were wondering.
Chunk. Really? Did you say Chunk?
Yeah, I get that all the time. The name goes back to my football days. Actually, my fantasy football days at the station. Stationarium. That was this office supply outlet mall I used to watch. Hey, you kids! No skating in the parking lot! That was me.
I see. I'll be seeing you, Chunk. I have no words. So let's go to LaCroix, as people insist on calling him. Even though I would suspect that, given his age and how he's been around the block a couple of times, that it's probably LaCroix, due to the fact that he's suspiciously French in origin, even though he doesn't have the accent. Right, we will go to the Pillage, to the penthouse. And there's our neckloper friend. Nice design you've got there. Is that the paintings that we slashed? Not really, but it's a lot of Cain and Abel stuff. And something that looks fairly Dutch. Right. Hello, hello. Your Majesty, or whatever we call you.
There you are. I was informed of your presence in the building. Since you're here, I'll take the liberty of assuming you've destroyed the warehouse. This is correct, yes?
If you don't already know that by now, you're not doing your job right, or you need to fire some informants. Of course I...
Most excellent. I had no doubt you'd prove my decision a prudent one. I trust you encountered no impediments to your progress on account of my personnel.
None at all? Yeah, none at all.
That is the answer I like to hear. You've done well, circumstances being what they were. I will admit, not many in your position would have overcome such a trial. But don't misunderstand me. It was no fool's errand. You may yet prove to be a genuine asset. It's a bit disturbing the lack of talent within this organization as of late. Tell me, what would you say to doing a bit of reconnaissance for me?
I'm curious to hear really what his, considering his lifespan, what his definition as of late is going to be. I'm guessing something around the last 100 years or so. It's like, there hasn't been any decent crop of new vampires since Queen Victoria was kicking around. I'd say yes, sir.
Excellent. Were you by chance in the military at all? I was an officer myself, actually, in Napoleon's ranks. There have been whispers, rumors spreading around the kindred community concerning the Elizabeth Dane, the cargo ship that was towed into port recently. Have you heard of it?
In Napoleon's ranks. Okay, so Jack is actually older than you. Oh my god, really? That's pretty young for a prince. Oh, although not for a prince in America, which is probably why he came here, because the princes in Europe, they tend to be older, a lot older. The one that used to reign in London was a couple of 1,000 years old, even though he's supposedly gone now. Even though he isn't really, of course. Have we heard? No, I haven't. What about it? I was too busy getting killed and revived.
The Dane was found out at sea. The reports say it was without crew, but they have yet to report a fate of said crew. The police are investigating the Dane as we speak. Even the Nosferatu have little information on what's been found. However, the reason the ship has caused such speculation is because it was transporting an object called the Ankaran sarcophagus. Now, I'm not one to predicate a decision based on conjecture, so what I need is fact. And more importantly, I need evidence that the occurrences on the Dane were not supernatural in nature, and in no way relate to this Ankaran sarcophagus.
That's actually quite interesting. I've never made the connection previously, considering that the ship was found without a crew. And this is about vampires, and it's about a sarcophagus being transported. Now, where have we heard this constellation before? Maybe in some sort of novel written by Bram Stoker a while ago? I wonder if the content of that sarcophagus, if the contents aren't just a Romanian gentleman of the clan Simiste who decided to pay a visit. Never really connected those dots. Interesting. I'm curious what the rest of the information is going to be, because Dracula is a NPC in this setting. He actually exists, and he sort of made that book happen. So what do you need me to do?
You have 3 objectives. 1. I want you to examine the sarcophagus for anything unusual. You may sense something peculiar about the sarcophagus. In fact, many kindred in the city have reported an uneasiness in the air since the Dane's arrival. Do not, under any circumstances, open the Ankaran sarcophagus. Secondly, the police have begun their investigation. Find out what they have concluded thus far. Thirdly, take the cargo manifest for the ship. I want to find out what else it was carrying. The last thing we want is police aware of our existence, so be careful what you do in front of them. And unlike the warehouse, you cannot wholesale slaughter a ship full of lawmen without consequences. Is this understood?
It is.
Good. Oh, and it has come to my attention that you had an encounter with Nines Rodriguez earlier. The man so does love to throw that cretinous charm of his brashly about. What exactly did Mr. Rodriguez say?
He asked me to visit him at the last round.
I see. Then, you should go humor the by-the-numbers rhetoric he's so desperately aching to spew. Oh, please, before the chance of fascist oppressor from that dive of theirs clog the air and choke the local kine.
Alright, fine.
Give the Anarch community my regards.
I'll do that. I don't suppose we can talk to you, big guy, can we? Boris Karloff. You've You're taller than I expected. Yeah, so... You know, before we do that... Obviously our mission will now be to humor the prince by providing the 2 pieces of intelligence he asked us to provide, and then opening the sarcophagus first chance we get. But we've also still got a meeting to partake in with Strauss, who is, you know, the boss of our particular clan, and as such a person of particular interest for us. What the hell is happening there? Okay. Who are you guys? Okay. I know this game was made in the Half-Life engine, but I didn't realize they were going that far. As you can see, they took that whole gothic punk setting thing quite literally when they made this setting or this scenario in downtown here, by just putting in the gothic architecture quite heavily, and, you know, putting in some buildings you'd hardly see in modern day downtown Los Angeles. At least I didn't really recognize or notice them when I was there, so I am quite sure that building doesn't exist, or maybe I just missed it. But yeah, that's the impact this setting has. Everything is sort of more gloomy, everything is sort of more The Crow and more Gotham than in real life. Which also affects the way the buildings are gonna look and everything. I can't exactly remember where Strauss is, but he said something about... what do you say? Something about... A light this verse, such power can find me where burns the mystical sun. Oh yeah, I think there's something over the door. Did someone just run in there? I think this is actually a club, but we don't need any blood right now, and as such we'll just have a quick look around downtown here. Can't remember why there were these CDC guys up and about in the hazard suits there, but there is probably some sort of revelation about this, possibly to do with the sarcophagus. But yeah, the whole sarcophagus thing, I remember the ending of the game from watching it years and years ago, and I believe it's fairly open. It does give you pointers and everything, but it's also fairly open to interpretation. Is this a dead end? Oh, well, that looks convenient. Nice looks there. May have gone off in the wrong direction. I'll just backtrack a little. Well, yeah, the Tremere regent, or maybe he's even a... what do they call it? A pontifex? Like, the regent is in charge of one chantry, like one local chantry, and the pontifex is usually... I think, oh no, the pontifex is in charge of one half of the US, and there's another region, another rank above regent, the name of which escapes me right now. I'm wondering if that's what Strauss actually is. I remember you. You're someone I need to talk to. And you don't look at all like you're out to do some shady dealings. Let's talk to you later. Right now there is no real roleplay reason to talk to you, I suppose. Ah, I think it's there. Is it? Oh no, okay, that just looked like I remember some sort of bluish glowing sign. But like I said, it's been like, what, 10 plus years since... is it one of these? Ah, yes. It's this one. That's the mystical sun that we were talking about, so... Here's our chantry. Let's just assume that Ben felt the mystical pull of the sun through his powers of admittedly pitiful aspects, but still, you know, there is something calling to fellow Tremere that other kindred may not be able to see. Let's head on in. Let's have a look around. The architecture is quite unusual for Los Angeles yet again, I suppose. Of course, this would yet again make us feel somewhat apprehensive, no doubt, to walk through this sort of The Shining type setting here. What's happening here? Oh wow, okay. Point of interest located. What's in here? There he is. Oh, Regent, my Regent.
Greetings, neonate. Might I assume you received my invitation? I have been looking forward to meeting you for quite some time.
I really wonder what time scale the game assumes is happening, whether it assumes that there are some days or nights passing in between, but it doesn't give the impression, so quite some time? Really? What, like a couple of hours? Yeah, I got it. I'm assuming you are...
Strauss. Maximilian Strauss. I am the regent of this chantry. Welcome.
Okay, so you're just the regent. Thanks. What is this place?
Ah, yes. Forgive me. I forget that you are not embraced within the pyramid. We share the same blood, you and I, but there is much you have yet to learn about our clan.
So you're a Tremere as well?
Yes. This new life in which you find yourself undoubtedly seems strange. I'm sure you have many questions, young one. I will answer those which I am able.
Well, let's ask him about the pyramid, which is sort of their structure of command with the council on top.
The pyramid is the social structure of our clan, with each level of advancement watched over by the next. There are apprentices here at the chantry who are my charges, and I have a lord who watches over me and other local regents, and so on. In most cases, Tremere are very selective about who they embrace and how it is done. There are traditions and laws that we adhere to, so the circumstances of your embrace were, let us say, unconventional. Therefore, you are outside the pyramid.
Uh-huh. Okay. That's a bit unusual, but not necessarily false, since we haven't really been blood-bound into the pyramid. The pyramid actually works on a sort of a 7, like in increments of 7. You have an apprentice rank, apprentice rank 1 to 7, with various duties to perform that are quite lowly at rank 1 and quite, challenging at rank 7. You might eventually ascend to either, manipulate things to replace your own regent or get a regency in a city. And it goes on from there. You have your lord, then the lord has the pontifex, and the pontifex has the council of 7. The lord is in charge of a regional couple chantries, depends on the country you're in. There may be quite a lot of lords, especially in the US. Then you have the pontifex, who's usually in charge of a larger region, just for, like, the US has 2, Dorfman in the east, and I forgot who in the west. So, yeah, and then you have the Council of 7, which is the 4th generation, the original, or, some of them are the 4th generation, others have been replaced over time, and they're not, but there are some of the original Tremere that self-vampirized themselves in the, I think it was the 1100s, still remaining. And it's 7 counselors, and they're all in charge of various parts of the world. I think you have Merlinda for Europe, and was it Atreus for... I can't remember. I can't actually remember who's in charge of the US. It might be Atreus or it might be Merlinda. In any case, like, they have responsibilities over large chunks of the world. Like, one of them is in charge of all of Arabia, and I think even Asia. Abatorius, I think his name is. And they only answer to Tremere, and they direct the clan. And Tremere is always sleeping. Like, Tremere is always in torpor, but they still communicate or claim to communicate with him. So Tremere, after whom the clan is named, is actually a person. And he's actually a person from another game called Ars Magica, another pen and paper game that was about Wizard Wars, and Tremere was already in that game. So yeah, it's a clan that has quite a history, and it's quite a unique clan in the fact that they are quite recent, and they made themselves into a clan by usurping the Salubri clan and sort of wiped them out down to just a handful of remaining ones. So yeah, with that bit of background out of the way, can I get inside the pyramid and be an apprentice?
Such things are possible, young one, but you would have to prove your worth to the clan before it would even be a consideration. Tremere guard their secrets well. Perhaps it is something we will speak of later.
Well, it makes sense. Since we weren't chosen by the normal criteria of what makes a Tremere, or Tremere, I'm having a hard time getting rid of my own, tried and trusted pronunciation of a word I've only ever seen in writing before playing this game. It makes sense. We don't really have the background of being handpicked for this. We were just sort of a fluke and a strike of fancy of our sire who paid for it with her life, really. Tell me what a chantry is.
A chantry is a local gathering place for those of the Tremere clan. I live here, as do apprentices from time to time.
It's actually kind of interesting to note that they refer to themselves as a clan, but the full name of the clan is Clan and House Tremere, because they still carry that over from their mage origins when they were just House Tremere and still non-vampiric. I'm new around here, Max. What's the word in the street? And your region, what is that?
A regent is the leader of a chantry, as well as a teacher to young Tremere apprentices who are studying the mysteries of our clan.
So, I guess I'm leaving because I don't want to call him Max. Is there anything...
Hello, neonate. How can I be of assistance?
Do you have a few minutes to talk with me?
Of course.
I have a few questions for you.
What is it you would like to know?
About the Camarilla.
The Camarilla? It is merely a kindred sect that exists to protect its members from the outside world. There are specific codes of behavior that we abide by in order to ensure the continuance of our species. It is nothing more and nothing less.
Sounds like another bullshit excuse for you capes to impose control, so we can already be, fight the power anarch here. Can I ask you a few more questions about Camarilla?
Surely. What else would you like to know?
Are all vampires part of it? Well, from the understanding of Camarilla, everyone is, because they claim sole authority over the rules that they put in place, but of course it's only theoretical.
No. There are many independent clans who are not aligned with the Camarilla, and the Sabbat is another sect of various vampire clans whose beliefs are very different than our own. Unsavory sorts, to say the least. I understand you have already run afoul of them.
Indeed, we have. Nines was there to help me out. Yeah, we'll just put it like that.
Ah, yes. The infamous Mr. Rodriguez. I understand you owe him your life twice now. Had he not intervened, the prince would have surely had that hound of his separate your head from your shoulders.
I actually doubt that. I think the prince set him up to have that outburst so he can, you know, make himself look good and sort of make him look bad while still getting us as a tool. It's sort of a win-win situation for him. And since he's the prince, he probably set it up that way. But Ben would, of course, probably not insinuate that quite yet, since he doesn't really know the ins and outs of the Camarilla quite well yet, so you're probably right.
In any case, it's a shame that Rodriguez cannot see the wisdom of the Camarilla. He would make a powerful ally. As it is, he is a significant thorn in LaCroix's side, which serves my purposes just the same.
And your purposes and the prince's the same, then?
LaCroix is a prince, neonate, and a Ventrue on top of that. Even if he weren't as young and indiscriminate as he's already proven himself to be, But I say too much. Let us just say that he and I have differing ideas on the use of power.
Well, Tremere rarely become princes because they're not trusted with that role, usually. But we also see a bit of a conflict of European and US perception of age here. Like, for the US, LaCroix or Lacroix is quite an old prince. But Strauss here is applying European standards, and by that he's just barely out of Ancilla status and not worthy of even being considered an elder. Like, an Ancilla is just the next word to be applied when you're no longer considered a neonate, but yet not quite an elder yet. I think your words betray disloyalty. I'm sure you do. How Machiavellian of you. See ya. I think we've heard enough for the moment. So we've learned that we still have to prove our worth to the clan before we can actually be considered a proper part of it. This is an unusual situation. I'm not quite sure I would have handled it the same way if this were me being the storyteller and Ben would be a character in my campaign. Oh, okay. This is the house that gets a little confusing. But it makes sense that they wouldn't really consider us a full member. What do we have here? Thaumaturgical creatures. Which is what exactly? Where do we have it? Bankins, Regent, Chicago. I thought that Regent of Chicago is called Nikolai, but I may be mistaken. Maybe he's dead. During the medieval conflict with the Tzimisce, Clan Tremere delved further into secret blood magics and created a race of protectors known as gargoyles. Since their inception, gargoyles have been used as scouts, warriors, and sentries. Gargoyles are monsters, vampires by virtue of the blood and flesh through which they are created. They are no more than the detritus of other clans, given a second chance to serve by their Tremere creators. Unfortunately, many have wrongly come to view their existence as slavery and have fled their masters in search of some delusional utopia. Most escaped gargoyles live in isolation, preferring solitude to even the company of their own kind. And homunculi, for the most menial mindless tasks, many Tremere create what is called a homunculus. These are mindless creatures which take many forms, winged, many-legged, or otherwise. Homunculi are unfailingly loyal, but their appearance makes them a serious threat to breaking the Masquerade. Interesting bit of background information there. Gargoyle are indeed a bloodline, and most of them have gone rogue. And they do associate with one another, if memory serves. I think there's one of them called Ferox. That's the one I'm thinking of, who's trying to organize them a tiny bit, but I don't know how much of a measure of success this has met so far. In any case, I think we're gonna leave it here. We've met our clan, we've met the prince, and now we've got our next task in the warehouse. Not the warehouse, sorry, in the ship. The warehouse was last time. God. So yeah, thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time, and bye for now.